If you weren't so concerned with pretensions and appearances, you'd be able to appreciate the positivity and emotional centeredness I provide you.
Depot Devoid.
Depot Devoid!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Depot Devoid. With my deepest apologies, we will be discussing Scream 3 today, and there's really just not. And that was better than most of the movie.
That's my take on it.
There's not
I'm
really
done.
any way to sugarcoat. Scream 3 is a pretty crummy movie. Which is not to say there aren't some things that I enjoy about it. There are several specific things that I enjoy about this movie.
There's a secret room.
That's
Fuck
not
the rest of the
one
movie.
of the things.
Fuck the rest of the movie. There's a secret room. That's great.
There's secret passages and an inexplicably soundproof thin mirror.
Yep. Sure is.
Here's the thing. Scream 3 was not written by Kevin Williamson, who wrote the first two. He was deeply involved in some TV project that he was working on at the time. He kind of concocted the scenario and was involved at various stages of the scripting. But this is not as well planned as some of the other entries in this series, which is not even to say that the other ones are all particularly well planned. But this one really stands out as being inexplicably clumsy in so many ways. Even Scream 2 was rushed like in an insane fashion, like way more than any like studio feature film ever should be, and holds together way better than Scream 3.
You know
Way
what
better.
it didn't have though?
Parker Posey?
Yeah, that, but that doesn't count so much as secret passages and shitty fucking bangs.
The bangs are legendary.
Good.
And also really highlights Courteney Cox's hilarious elf ears in a way that I am surprised she was comfortable with.
Maybe she just didn't know that they were wrong.
She, I assume, had access to a mirror at some point during the production of Scream 3.
Yeah, but Matt, if you're looking at your face in the mirror all the time, does it look wrong? Or is that just normal?
I mean, yeah, I mean you have a point, but it's, come on. Those bangs. It's a character choice.
They're so short.
It's I want to know what the conversation was surrounding the development of this look.
Here's
Also,
what
I
I'm
kind
gonna
of
guess.
prefer. Okay, go ahead.
When Vincent was little, I did all of the hair cutting for him and his sister. Actually, both. I cut Vincent's hair until he was 11, and Haley's until she was about 10. And Vincent, he had a hard time like holding still for it sometimes, and it'd be like when trimming like the bangs or around the ears, just being like, "Hey, bud, you need to chill, hold still." And this one time, I'm trimming the bangs, and he's like, "Well, all right then. We aren't going to have a crossed hair. We're having here. So now Dad's got to do some serious hair surgery." I'm wondering if that might have been the thing. Maybe she was feeling a little bit twitchy.
The problem with that is that many women in movies wear wigs for their characters, and it would be perfectly normal and understandable for Courteney Cox to do so. I'm sure she was in other Scream movies even, because it's pretty common. You have hair for one project that doesn't fit this project. So if you want to be able to do a feature film while you're doing your TV show, you wear a wig for the movie. Why would she not just wear a wig? If something horrible happened, like she was trying to light her fucking cigarette off of the stovetop while she was drunk and there goes her Aquanet and now her bangs look like this, she could have just worn a wig.
This is very true.
So they decided that she should look like this. And part of me still loves it just because it's so freaking bizarre.
And it's obviously the best talking point of this bullshit film.
It is actually probably the most enduring truth of Scream 3. There are so many things wrong with this movie. And I will give it that this is very shortly post Columbine. There were a lot of things happening with particularly studio horror films pulling back from graphic violence, and I understand that this production was definitely affected by what was going on in America and Hollywood at that time. That does not excuse a lot of the things that are going on here. That explains some of it, and probably explains why Scream 3, which is, the third entry in essentially a horror comedy kind of franchise, decides to lean really hard into the comedy aspect, like really hard.
And I didn't find it funny at all.
It's weird. It's really weird. I love Parker Posey, and I'll say that. There's some here's some stuff that I like about Scream 3.
Which one's Parker Posey?
Parker Posey is fake Gail Weathers.
Okay.
She is best known to, she was sort of introduced to the world as an evil cheerleader in the movie Dazed and Confused. And she's terrific in that. That movie, unfortunately, also inflicted upon the world Matthew McConaughey.
In his pure glory. He was not acting.
It's a complicated gift. No, he wasn't. And that's why he is exactly like that in every other movie he's ever been in. Parker Posey is terrific in Scream 3. I love this conceit of Scream 3. Scream happens, it's a series of murders, and then afterwards, Gail Weathers writes a book about it. That book is turned into the movie Stab, which is just premiering when Scream 2 is happening. And so now there's a new series of murders that coincide with those events. We can assume immediately after that there was a movie called Stab 2, based on the series of events that happened at Windsor College in Scream 2. But Scream 3 is about a series of murders that never happened. So I kind of love that they have taken the truth, in air quotes, of Scream and Scream 2 and then run with it. And now they're creating a new story about real people in a series of murders based on their own experiences, except these ones haven't happened. And that's kind of great. I love that. And what that means is, because we're being drawn to the Hollywood set of Stab 3, that we get not only our core Scream franchise characters, but also fake versions of them played by actors who are pretending to be Gail Weathers and Dewey Riley and Sidney Prescott. And that's awesome. I think that's a lot of fun. And Parker Posey as fake Gail Weathers is fucking terrific. She's hilarious. She steals every scene that she's in. Unfortunately, that's not what this movie should be about. Like, she's really, really great at something that really shouldn't be happening. So it's a weird place to be.
It really is. And I'm not gonna even pretend right now. It's been 3 or 4 weeks since we were actually going to be recording this.
Yeah.
I have not primed myself at all for this because this movie was bullshit. I've got my one small page of like 9 notes that are all garbage, just like this movie. And I am
I have
not
a
going to apologize.
yeah, I have not looked. I have a few notes. I have not looked at them since I watched this movie a few weeks ago. A lot of things have happened since then, and I have not thought about it really at all. Um, but I think I probably have enough that I can at least sort of keep us on track a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna start us out with this really obvious one. The opening. Okay, the white voice box is now in bullshit territory.
Oh yes, yes. Um, that is the first annoying thing that happens in Scream 3. We have historically had the killers use a little voice changer that gives them the ghost face voice, and now inexplicably we can just copy anybody's voice,
Yeah, that's
like with
horseshit.
such perfection that a person familiar with their voice wouldn't even recognize it. Apparently, this is bullshit, which actually gets even bullshittier later, and I will rant about it when we get there. But yes, that is the first annoying thing. Our pre-credits kill for Scream 3 is Cotton Weary, who I like Cotton. You know, he grew into an interesting character. We sort of barely saw him in Scream. He kind of emerged as a little more complex guy in Scream 2. We see him sort of fulfilling his potential in Scream 3 as the media whore that he always kind of wanted to be, and now he's a big successful Hollywood jerkwad talk show host who's filming a cameo in Stab 3. And he gets lured home and stabbed to death, and his girlfriend gets stabbed to death, and it's all about Sydney for some reason. And it's hard to get really into it, you know, because it's boring. It's
Extremely.
like, I like Cotton, but like, do we care that Cotton's getting killed? Like, the interesting thing is that we're supposed to know, like, we're trying to find out where Sydney is. So that's telling us that Sydney has dropped off the grid since the events of Scream 2, and whoever the new Ghostface is trying to find her. So that's okay, that's fine. That's like our interesting little plot point. But this movie is just dripping with bullshit backstory that we are supposed to buy into. And it's like, it does an okay job of trading on the backstory that it's already sort of grown in the last two movies with Cotton and stuff, but this extra shit about Maureen, and then oh god, I mean, come on guys, this is like this feels like somebody's first draft.
It
And
is.
it's not, it's like their 10,000th draft.
No,
But
this
somehow,
is the first one. They just forgot about the other drafts and puked out this bullshit. Followed by
and the
note
other
number
thing
2,
is,
bad bangs.
yeah, so Gail shows up, she's Hollywood hotshot. She's got some bangs going on. I guess her producers must hate her or something. So yeah, so Cotton gets killed, that draws everybody out. Next thing we know, we're on the set of Stab 3. We do have one great bit of dialogue which happens around here. He was making a movie called Stab. He was stabbed.
I forgot about that. That was actually probably the best part of the whole movie.
Bill was probably about to divorce me with the number of times that I said. I think every time he looked at me or walked into the room while I was watching this movie, I said that line to him. It was the only thing that was keeping me going. Otherwise, it's just too hard to watch.
It's a really rough one. I mean,
so anyway, also Dewey is there. Dewey is a consultant on Stab 3, so that's how we contrive to get our main characters sparring again. We have another implicit relationship that has occurred and ended between Gail and Dewey, and now they're on the outs again. I kind of like that. I like that we don't have to deal with the cutesy romance of it. We get to have them already like kind of hate each other, which is kind of fun.
Isn't this the one where they were actually going through a divorce in real life?
And I think they
or
were
they
actually
popping out babies?
they were very much together during this one, I think.
Okay.
So it was probably like fun for them to do this where they were like really on the outs, because I think that they were together and having kids right now.
So this was the popping out babies and like pre-divorce planning phase movie.
Yes, I suspect so. They seem to actually be like, I mean, they're still pretty good friends, I think. They're co-parents still.
That's good.
I watched the that documentary about him and his wrestling career on Hulu. And Courteney Cox is in it.
I still
Yes,
can't
I
wrap
watch
my head
everything
around
with
it.
Courteney Cox in it. I got stars with
Even
a Z.
Ace Ventura.
No, I don't think she's in that. In my mind, she's not.
She is. I
In
know.
my
I already
mind, she's
mentioned.
not.
Yeah, I know. But I'm
Does
gonna
does
have
she
to send you.
play? Does
I'm
she
gonna send
play
you
Sean
pictures.
Young's penis?
She has a sex scene with Ace Ventura.
I'm not going to watch that transphobic piece
I'm
of
going
shit.
to send it to you.
You can send it to me, but I'm not going to watch it.
I'm going to send you pictures of it. One picture for every single second of the movie, which is great because it's only.
That sounds like a lot of work for you.
Yeah, I know, but it's going to be so much fun. Actually, it won't. I won't do that. Anyway, now on to note 3: slow bad kills.
Yeah, that's another one of the things. Oh, also Jay and Silent Bob. What the shit?
I wrote that off the moment it happened.
It was really annoying.
It was
Like
unacceptable. That's why
I hate it
I had
so
removed
hard. I think I always do too, but because we were going to talk about it, I had to make a note about it because
Good point.
first of all, just fuck those guys anyway, and then double fuck them for being in this movie, and then extra fuck Wes Craven for putting them in this movie. Wes Craven is better than this movie. I don't get it.
You
Like
might not have had a choice.
I mean, I'm sure that there was plenty of interference, but like he must have known that the script was garbage. I mean, like how do you like he's smart enough to recognize that.
Yeah, and you can't make a movie like this on accident.
No, like there's definitely some deliberate choices happening here. He cast Jenny McCarthy.
I did appreciate her bitching about her role in it, but that was obvious because that's something that been pissing me off from the get-go about like these people are too goddamn old and it's too fucking obvious. I appreciated that the movie knew itself well enough to finally call that out 3 movies in when it's very bad. And also, by the way, note number 4, the voice box is pissing me off.
Yeah.
It happens twice. Hell, it might be in here another couple of times. I don't know.
The thing about I'm Candy, I'm the chick who gets killed second. Like it's funny, but it's also like the minimum level of self-awareness that you could expect from a Scream movie. I mean, this isn't really that observation is certainly no more insightful than Neve Campbell in the first Scream movie talking about the dumb blonde with the big tits who's running up the stairs when she should be running out the front door. Like that's what these movies are about. And so all you're doing is you're just saying this is a Scream movie. Well, we already sort of know that. And if you would just be better at being a Scream movie, you wouldn't have to keep reminding us what we're in.
This is 100% true. However, I think that me, as well as all the test audiences they probably brought this to, wanted to see Jenny McCarthy die. I wouldn't mind watching her die a few more times.
Well, yeah, that's fair. And she's a great choice for this role. But again, it's basically filler. Because we don't care about her. Like, and in the larger conceit of the movie, I'm not gonna there's no spoilers here. Everyone has seen this movie. Roman, the director of Stab 3, is the ghost face in this movie.
That's
and
my next
the
note.
only
It's
reason
Roman.
Yeah, the only reason he's killing anyone is to lure Sydney out or whatever, which is just stupid. But why are we as an audience supposed to give a shit about Sarah as Candy, the chick who gets killed second? Like, we don't know her. Sydney doesn't know her. She's totally meaningless to us. I don't know. It just feels clumsy. Like, at least generally speaking, we knew the characters that were getting killed in Scream. Like, we met them before. We spent at least a scene with them.
That actually is part of why I concluded that Roman was the killer, is because they decided to jump into that so much. They needed to pull in a part of the movie and start killing on the set. You know, it had to be something to do with that.
I mean, it's been so long since I saw this movie for the first time. I don't think I even bothered to try to figure out who the killer was because the movie didn't care. So I kind of didn't either.
I didn't really either. It just happened to be like, that's it. That's it.
Oh, and then they're like, someone is killing them in the order they die in the movie, which is basically like in Scream 2 when Gail's like, oh, the killer is killing these people with the same names as people who got killed in the first series Woodsboro murders. But then just like that, as soon as they piece together that information, it's immediately dropped and we never talk about it again, and it doesn't matter even a little bit.
No, it doesn't. And you know what else doesn't matter? Anything up until the point that Dewey gets shot 7 times from a 6-shot revolver. Nothing matters until then.
Well, that's because this is a movie in Hollywood. In Hollywood movies, you can shoot as many times as you want.
This isn't a movie in Hollywood. They're filming a movie in Hollywood, and
It's a
reality.
Hollywood movie. It's all a movie, Ted. It's
not
great big
double
movie.
movies. It's not movies.
That's why they're able to have a voice changer that changes your voice into the voice of a dead woman.
Hello, Sydney. I'm your mom now.
Wouldn't it be awesome if that was actually Maureen's real speaking voice? Like, we get a flashback, or like the dad watching old home movies, and Maureen just has Ghostface's voice.
Hey, honey, I'm going to bed. You want to brush your teeth too? Let's make out.
Hello,
Now I have
Sydney.
to cough.
Let's get ready for school.
I made you bacon and eggs today, you bitch.
I know I promised you waffles, but you're a fucking whore.
Just like me.
Just like me.
How does he have a voice changer that changes to Maureen's voice? And apparently it's so accurate that Sydney thinks it's her.
Because it's garbage.
This movie hates everyone.
I hate this movie.
And also, okay, this whole thing hinges on this like missing time in Maureen's life when she was young and went to Hollywood to become an actress, I guess. Tell me this. Even if they didn't determine that she had gone to Hollywood to become an actress, would Gail Weathers not have identified a missing portion of Maureen's timeline when she was researching the fucking Woodsboro murders? Like that doesn't even make any sense. That's giving short shrift to Gail as a journalist.
Quick question here, Matt. Did that scene take place before Dewey got shot 7 times from a 6-shot revolver?
No, because that happened even before the first Scream movie. In Scream 0.
I'm pretty sure that happened. That happened before the 7 shots.
Scream 0.
So this didn't
in
matter.
theaters 2025.
Well, I mean, if we have to go that route, then Scream 1 and 2 didn't matter either. But I'm just meaning in this film, the sequence of events, if that happened between the voice boxes pissing me off and Dewey got shot 7 times from a 6-shot revolver, then it doesn't fucking matter.
It does matter because you are leaving out some really awesome stuff, like
Am I?
Ghostface killing the Tick.
But it's not on the notes.
Yeah, but it happened. Oh, it happened, Ted, and it was important. Also, you got to see the Tick holding Parker Posey like a little baby in his arms. Nobody jumps into someone's arms in as weird and beautiful a way as Parker Posey as fake Gail Weathers. Also, that scene where they meet fake Carrie Fisher, played by real Carrie Fisher, was pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Again, doesn't really belong in a Scream movie, but it was really funny.
I've got a note here that I don't know what means, so maybe you can help me on this, Matt. It says Randy from beyond the grave.
Oh yeah, so that's sort of an important thing. So Randy, of course, got
stabbed
stabbed a lot in Scream 2 and died. And then
now I remember it.
Yeah, in this movie, Martha Meeks, Randy's sister, who everybody knows but we've never talked about before, shows up on the set of Stab 3 somehow to bring them a tape that Randy had made during the events of Scream 2, just in case he died. And also it turned out that a new Ghostface killer came after Sydney sometime in the future after that, which
Now,
shows some pretty impressive foresight.
It does. And just to make sure all you young listeners out there understand, we're talking about a tape being a VHS tape, which is a magnetic film that is recorded in a big tape that looks very similar to those ones that other old people used to put into their boom boxes to listen to music. But now this is one where you record faces and voices on. People used to rent them at video stores. Have you heard of those, kids?
God, I love video stores.
I miss them.
So I kind of liked the Randy thing. It was cute. It was nice to have him back. It was his whole deal in this movie is if it happens again and it turns out that this is a trilogy, then there's new rules, because Scream loves to do new rules, which is fine. I like that as their trope. And I feel like, given what the rest of this movie was, this is probably the best they could have done with the whole new rules thing. It's not much, and it tries to excuse all of this extra backstory that they're laying on us, but it's not good enough. It doesn't excuse how elaborately contrived this whole situation is.
The only way that it could have been even more obviously chock full of bullshit is if Randy had obviously aged or put on 45 pounds
or got ghost bad voice, just started talking like this. Sydney, if it turns out to be a trilogy, you're extra double fucked because there's new rules.
I keep doing this and it makes me cough every time.
You would apparently be a terrible Ghostface killer.
Not if I just had the box. The box can make it happen for free.
It could make you just sound like your 17-year-old son.
No, but guess what? My next note is continuing to be angry regarding voice box.
There are so many things to be angry about with this movie. One of the ones that I am really irritated by is that when they're doing they're killing them in the order that they die in the movie. Fake Gail Weathers says that the next person who dies in the movie is Gail Weathers, And then later, when fake Gail Weathers is being murdered, she's like, you can't kill me. I'm the killer in Stab 3. Like, okay, tell me how that works. Tell me how she's the next person to die and also is the killer. Scriptwriter of Scream 3.
We should send him a scathing real snail mail.
I'm sure he's gotten plenty of that. Because when this movie came out, really people still used it. People still used snail mail back then. This came out in like 2001.
I can't believe I actually even used that term. How fucking old is that? I've been dated.
You could just say USPS.
Upsis?
Us.
Oh, that's too much for me. All right, here's
You'll
my
have to
next
sanitize
note.
your microphone after you say us.
I'm just gonna buy a new one instead. So, Dewey shot 7 times from his revolver earlier. When he shot the mirrors 7 fucking times too.
Well, because he had one that he just tucked into the barrel. So the first one just there's 2.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's more like a Brandon Lee type thing where you shot a blank, but it actually had enough powder in it to lodge the bullet into the chamber, and it was a freebie.
Yeah, that's what happened. There's no continuity errors in this movie, Ted.
Not at all. Not at all. There was no Brandon Lees killed in this film.
I also like how when they're exploring the basement, even when Roman is completely alone, he's acting like he's scared and doesn't know what he's going to find, even though he's the only killer.
This movie should really be so embarrassed, just like fucking Gail Weathers' bangs, that it covers its face and never gets seen again.
How did fake Gail Weathers have so much better hair than real Gail Weathers?
Maybe that was part of the choice. Maybe it was the one good choice of the movie to help real Gail Weathers look worse than fake Gail Weathers.
There was a good choice in the movie?
Probably not.
Oh, it looks like we're about out of time on this one. I'll have to come back in a minute because I definitely, although there's not much to say about this movie, I do have to complain about the ending for a little while.
That's reasonable. All right, we will be right back.
I'll be right back.
Welcome back. I'm Bob Ross, and we're here to talk about our happy little accidents. It's no longer a secret. It's Scream. We painted it, and it sucks.
Scream 3 was no accident. Oh God, I'm so sorry. It's still Scream 3. It's almost over. This conversation has probably been the most disjointed that we've ever had, because who can care about Scream 3?
It's true. And just to let you know, we're going to have to wrap it up because dinner has arrived and it's going to be noisy.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Well, luckily the movie is almost over.
It is almost over.
There's some other stuff that happens, none of which is really important. Just some drawn out, predictable chases and stabses, and we start thinning out the cast of Stab 3 at Roman's house. It's all just such nonsense. Here's the thing. Supposedly, Maureen Prescott ran off to Hollywood when she's really young. She stars in a couple of shitty horror movies, bangs some producers to get the roles. She gets pregnant, who knows who by. She has a baby that she gives up. The baby grows up to be Roman, the director of Stab 3, who is an obsessive, crazy person. This movie wants us to believe that what happened is Roman, wanting to know who he really is, had tracked down his biological mother, Maureen Prescott, a few years ago, and she wanted nothing to do with him. And so in response, he manipulated Billy Loomis and Stu Macher into murdering her. Like, it's Roman
Kinda,
is
sorta.
pathetic. It's like, as a villain, he's a deeply pathetic human being. Like, if this movie wants us to believe that he is the one who started all of this, like, all of the murders from all three movies taken together are the result of Roman being a fucking entitled piece of shit. He tracks down his mom and she rejects him. Yeah, that sucks. That totally sucks. But this is not a normal reaction. And there's no justification for this. And what is it that he hopes to gain through this final act that he has orchestrated? He lures Sydney out and he says, I'm going to make you pay for the life that you stole from me, the family and the stardom. What the fuck? Like, she's not a star. The only reason anyone knows who she is because of the events that he supposedly orchestrated. And he's a movie director. Like, what is he missing from his life that she has and he doesn't? She's fucking in seclusion. Okay, so he's now setting her up as the fall guy for these murders. She went crazy and she killed all these people. What does he get out of, like, how is that winning? Like, none of this makes sense as a motivation. He's just being a huge asshole because he perceives that something was denied to him. But if you enumerate it, like, what does she have that he could possibly want? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
Here's where we ask the question, Matt. What is this movie actually about?
I actually thought about this. And I first of all, I don't think that there's a good answer possible because this movie is garbage. I think that the movie tries to tell us that it is about like closure, like it is laying an unquiet past to rest, because it wants us to believe that Roman is the cause of everything. And so by vanquishing him at the end of Scream 3, then we have achieved closure on the series of events of murders, even though in order to believe that, you have to ignore the fact that everything that happened in Scream 2 was caused by people who were not connected to this directly. But let's go with it. That's what this movie wants us to believe, and just forget about the other stuff. And they give Gail and Dewey are like giving it another shot in spite of their own difficult past. We've got Sydney is her closure, Ted. Her closure is openness. Did you see that? She left the door open because her closure is openness.
Oh,
This movie really sucks.
this movie is absolute garbage. Here's what this movie's actually about, Matt. It's all about keeping up appearances and failing to do so, because it's all a bunch of happy little accidents. None of this was intended. It was supposed to be wrapping it up, but it failed to wrap it up. And it didn't really want to wrap it up. It wanted to be a bridge to Scream 4, but it didn't know how the fuck to do that when it was pretending to try and wrap it up. It was a failure.
I do not believe that this was attempting to be a bridge to Scream 4. Scream 4 happened like 11 years later. Mm-hmm. And I think that this was in fact intended to be the last film in a trilogy, exactly what it said it was, even though it was definitely not planned as a trilogy, which is one of the many reasons that it sucks, because it's trying to be the concluding chapter of one, but it wasn't a trilogy. But I think that is really what it was trying to be. And it's a lot easier for me to just go get past it now because it's not the last film. But like for 11 years, like this is how the franchise ended. And it was super disappointing. And like I would watch it a couple of times and like try really hard to find the silver lining in there and
There isn't any.
be okay with it. But I'm very, one of the reasons that I was so happy that they made more of these is because now I can be like, this piece of shit, we can just leave it behind now, because now there's better movies that take place after it. And Scream 4 isn't even that great, but it is way better, way better than this.
After watching this flaming pile of dog shit, I'm really looking forward to Scream 4, because it can't be worse.
Oh no, it is not. It is not at all. It'll be the last one that was made by Wes Craven. He died before the 5th one was made. So it will be it's actually his final film, I believe, is Scream 4. And it's fine. Like it's not great, but it's fine and it's fun. And for those of us who watched these in the theater, like it was over a decade. So it was literally like getting to go back and reunite with some old friends who we hadn't seen in a really long time, and that was very, very pleasant. And it did not leave such a huge, nasty, bitter taste in my mouth as the 3rd one did. And Gail's hair looks a lot better.
There's very few ways that it could not.
It's so true.
Well, I'm going to have to wrap this one up.
That is probably best for everyone.
Let's never talk about Scream 3 ever again, please.
Well, we might have to mention it in context.
I don't think that I will.
4.
I think that I'm going to ignore this giant shit baby.
So what are you going to do then when I mention Gail's bangs?
I'm probably going to pretend that you didn't see anything at all. I'm pretty sure if I can reference it to Scream 3, I'm not going to acknowledge you.
We'll see.
I mean, that seems like the only logical course of action.
Hey, Courteney Cox is willing to admit that it happened.
Yeah, that's her folly, not mine.
Why? I don't know why you won't live in the same reality as Courteney Cox, Ted. It's a great
Still
place
the same
to be.
reality. I just won't go into her dark palace. It's not okay. This is wrong. It should be locked up and burned.
Why are people constantly telling me that they won't go into Courteney Cox's dark palace? It's a weird theme.
You know what? I think that might be the only way that we can ever refer to Scream 3.
Courteney
Scream
Cox's
3
dark
is-
palace.
Yep. Scream 3 is Courteney Cox's dark palace. Now I can reference it and feel safe.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we're developing an internal vernacular that'll definitely help ease things forward.
And in fact, I'm going to make a note about this right now for Scream 4.
I'm sure we'll remember.
Well, I mean, when I get off the headphones, I'll get up and get my pen.
Well, I definitely saw Scream 4 streaming somewhere, so I think you should be able to find that one for our next conversation, and I'm sure that you will have a better time with Scream 4 than you did with Scream 3. If nothing else,
imagine.
at least there's some fucking blood in it.
That will help. It will really help. All right, Matt. So, final conclusions. Scream 3, Courteney Cox's Dark Palace, is awful.
It is awful. It's so awful that it's like even loving David Arquette doesn't save it.
No, there's nothing to save it.
He's adorable all the way through this, and it's like, oh, I wish I cared, you know? Yeah, it is it is a deep low point. There the bell curve of this franchise is inverted right there in the middle, and that will be very, very clear to you going forward.
Well, there's only one way to move now, and that's up.
Let's hope it stays that. I haven't seen the sixth one. I'm going to assume
that's the only one Vincent's seen.
The one that's in theaters now.
Yes.
The hell?
I know.
I tried to convince Bill to go see it because it was playing in Seaside, and he was like, "No, you first." I'm like, "All right, I guess I'm waiting for it to go on Paramount Plus or something."
Well.
I'm just afraid that someone's gonna like tell me who the killer in Scream 6 is before I get to see it.
You should probably get on it then.
And why did he see Scream 6?
Because his friends wanted to go watch it.
I'm so confused. I don't think I could do that. Like, I just don't think I'm capable of it. I wanted to watch the TV series The Flash, and because I knew that it spun out of the Green Arrow show, which I didn't care about, I watched like 2 whole fucking seasons of Arrow, like just so that I would have the foundation for when The Flash started. And then I never watched another episode of Arrow once the Flash part was over.
There's no reason.
But I don't think I could go see Scream 6 if I'd never seen Scream 1 through 5. That's insane.
It's an interesting choice.
Your son is insane.
I won't deny.
Oh, it's gonna keep me up at night. All right. I'm gonna let you eat your dinner. I'm gonna try to go process this information.
Well, have fun with that. I'm glad to not revisit Courteney Cox Dark Palace.
Yes, let's leave those lights off.
That will, of course, be the name of this episode when everything.
We can always, every once in a while, can we at least shine a flashlight into Courteney Cox's Dark Palace to take a peek at her bangs, because they're pretty hilarious.
We might have to ask her about that.
I can't wait to find out.
All right, Matt. You have a wonderful night.
You too. I love you, Ted.
Love you too. Say hi to Bill for us.
I will. Watch out around your son. Guy's insane.
Clearly, 100%.
Goodbye, Sydney.
Goodbye.
Depot Devoid is hosted by Matt Fagan and Ted Fagan. Depot Devoid is not hosted by Ian Fagan because he died, and we miss him. Find us at Depot Devoid Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all your favorite podcast platforms, or reach us at depotdevoidpodcast@gmail.com.